Hello, everybody, and welcome to Running Code, Humor in South Texas Law Enforcement. I'm your host, T-Bone. As always, is my partner, J-Man. J-Man, say hello to the good fans.
What's up, good people? How y'all doing today?
As you can tell, he's very expressive emotionally. It's a lot of fun to work with. So, either whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time listener, we like to find humor in things. We also like to debunk mysteries and kind of peel back some of the layers behind law enforcement where people don't quite understand us. And one of those, as today's topic, is going to be debunking common police misconceptions and the things people think we can't do or can do. And I think you can find the funny in that by also telling the citizens what we can actually do and what they think we can't do, or what we can't do that they really think we can do. Heard that one too. If we, like I said earlier in another episode, if we actually could do the things that people thought we could actually do, well, it might be more fun for us, but it'd ultimately be a police state, and that's no fun for anyone. So, J-Man, what are your thoughts on common police misconceptions that you've heard, stuff you've heard? Like, give me a common misconception.
One of the big misconceptions is, I think I always see a lot is, do we have the authority to get people out of the vehicle if they haven't committed a crime? Especially if it's a traffic stop. Well,
yeah.
Answer is yes.
Yep.
That's well-established case law. Pennsylvania v. Mims for the driver. And for the passengers, Maryland v. Wilson.
That's right.
It's just plain as day. We don't want to expound on judges' opinions and things like there, but the Cliff Notes is we can do it.
Yep.
We can do it, and primarily it's for officer safety. So if we see something that's concerning in the vehicle,
their behavior, the way they're acting, statements they're making, absolutely.
Yes.
We can ask you to step out of the car.
Yes, we ask you to step
Come
out.
back, talk to us. This does not mean you're under arrest, people. You're just detained on a traffic stop already. A traffic stop is a detention.
Yes.
So he's just pulling you away from the car where he thinks there may be something that's going to hurt him.
Yeah.
So yes, he legally can do it, and you refusing to do it is probably going to land you in jail if you continue it. At minimum, for interference with law enforcement officer in the performance of their duties. In Texas, that's one of the charges you can get. He has a duty. And he has a duty to protect himself and other people in the public. So if he thinks you're going to drive off on him or pull a weapon, absolutely. Step on out of the car, come on back here and talk to me.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get a choice. He's maybe asking you, but it's not a request.
Yep.
So that's a good one. One of my favorites is unmarked vehicles. So I'm a traffic officer, and I drive a Tahoe that is subdued marked on the side. You can barely see it. It names my agency, and the lights are supervisor lights, which are inside the windshield, not on the roof of the vehicle. People have this misconception that I can't stop cars with that vehicle because it's not a fully marked patrol vehicle. I'm here to tell you, folks, that is inaccurate. It is in a police vehicle. It's an emergency vehicle equipped with emergency lights and siren. I'm in full uniform. Yes, I can, absolutely, all day long, traffic stop you or do any other law enforcement I need to do with that vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
I hear that one all the time. Oh, you can't stop me because of this. Can't stop me because of that. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you this isn't 1950. The agency's not allowed to legally do it. They're not going to do it. So, yes, those are legal. There may be other states, Texas, that is not illegal. There may be other states where that is illegal now. Maybe there are some states where they require them to be fully marked police cars to do traffic stops. Texas isn't one of them. If it is equipped with emergency lights, emergency sirens, and the officer is clearly identifiable as a police officer, then yes, they can do traffic stops. So that's a fun one for me. What do you got in another one?
Another one that we can always talk about for sure is, and this one is kind of, Miranda warning. And Miranda warning.
Let's talk about the Miranda warning.
It's one of the ones where, and I've seen this countless times when I was working in the jail. When someone is arrested, an offender is arrested, if we are not interrogating them about the crime or even asking specific questions at the scene of arrest about the crime, I don't have to read you a Miranda warning. I could just transport you, and that's it. There are plenty of people inside the county jail where I worked, and their biggest thing was, well, sir, I'm going to be out of here pretty soon. Well, why? They just didn't read my rights. They didn't read my rights, boss. I'm going to go to court, and then I'm going to submit this motion, and I'm going to be out of here. And let's see, fast forward 2.5 months later, court date comes. Yeah, boss, so I took plea deal. Oh, yeah. I bet you did.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing you did.
Yep. So you're absolutely right. There is that misconception. I've heard it before. You didn't read my Miranda. I don't have to. I didn't ask you anything. I don't need to because I watched you do it. So what was the point? I'm not a detective. I have no reason to start interrogating you. So Miranda warning is required when you are having a custodial interrogation, then we are required to read you your Miranda warning prior to any custodial interrogation.
Right.
And of course, those are rights that you have. You can invoke them at any time. The questioning stops. And I've also heard, well, if he hasn't read me my rights, anything I say can't be held against me. That's wrong. That is called a statement of regesti. So if you are in the back of our police vehicle and you say something stupid like, I shot him in the head. Well, guess what? That is a statement of regesti, 100% admissible, and it will be used against you as probably exhibit number 1 will be that backseat camera footage.
Yeah.
He didn't ask you. You uttered it on your own without any prompt from the officer. Wholly admissible. Absolutely 100%.
Absolutely.
So, yes, we hear stupid crap like that. Some agencies make it a policy, which is different from law, folks. If you don't know the difference, there's law and there's policy.
Yep.
Every agency has their own policies. They cannot be less restrictive than state law. They can be more restrictive.
Yes.
So one of those is you may have an agency that you work for that requires you to read anybody Miranda no matter what. Okay. That's agency true. May have that law or policy, not law, policy. Most agencies don't, though. But some agencies do, even if you arrest them for a warrant only where you wasn't even your case. It just had to be a traffic stop and then a warrant.
Yep.
Some agencies require you to read it. Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And nothing says you can't do that. You can read the Miranda warning anytime you just even stop a traffic stop. And before you start speaking, read the Miranda warning. Nothing wrong with it. But don't do that, guys. You're going to add so much time to your day that is just completely unnecessary. Remember, if you're talking to them and they admit to a crime, then if you're going to ask them anything further and you're going to prompt a conversation by questions, then you need to Mirandize them.
Oh, yeah.
If they admit to a crime, you don't say another word other than get out of the car and handcuff them. You don't have to Mirandize them. You didn't ask for that statement. They gave it to you.
Yep.
So there's a difference, guys. So I do like that one. That was a good one. How about, well, we talked about exiting vehicles. How about calibrating radar? I hear this one all the time. I'm a traffic officer. I'm also a radar and LiDAR instructor. And I hear this all the time. Did you calibrate your radar? The answer is no, I did not.
No, we don't.
We don't calibrate our radars, people. We test the calibration of our radars using tuning forks and the internal test circuitry of that particular system, whatever we're using. Stalker, which is the majority of radars these days, are Stalker.
Yep.
And we test that calibration using the tuning forks. We do not calibrate our radars. They're calibrated at the factory. So I hear that one all the time. I'm going to get this ticket dismissed because you didn't calibrate the radar. Okay, I'll see you in court. And then when you bring in your tuning forks and you bring in your logbook, the judges know better and the prosecutors know better. You're just the one standing looking stupid because you heard a rumor somewhere. So let me debunk that one. No, we don't calibrate radars. We test the calibration of the radars beginning and the end of our shift.
Oh, yeah.
Another one close to that is, does radar work in radar doesn't work in rain. It works just fine in rain. It's LiDAR that you don't use in rain. Radar absolutely works in weather, or planes would not be able to fly in weather. So radar works just fine. Just as accurate as if it's a hot, dry, sunny day versus wet, cold, and rainy. Absolutely, radar works the same. No changes. Nice try.
Yep.
So those are misconceptions I've heard. So, J-Man, I know you got another one probably. You being a man on patrol, I'm sure you've heard a million of them.
Oh, yeah. So this is more specific to Texas and other states that have the same deal. In the state of Texas, folks, you need 2 license plates. Now, let me specify what I mean by 2 license plates. You need one affixed to the outermost portion of the front of the vehicle and one affixed to the outermost portion of the rear of the vehicle. They need to be on the outside of the car.
Yeah.
Not in the visor, not in the windshield, not, maybe vertical on the driver's side where the registration sticker is. No. Put it on the outside.
Absolutely.
I understand, there are Tesla owners out there, BMW owners, the 325s,
Porsche
Corvette, Sport Coupes.
Yeah.
And by gosh golly, you don't want to ruin that front bumper. But here's the drawback. You may be driving through any city in the state of Texas and you get stopped and you have no front license plate and you may get a ticket. And you may think that, oh man, well, the dealership didn't give me 2 plates. Or I don't need to put it on the outside. I heard the windshield was just fine. You can tell that to the judge.
Yep.
You can tell it to the judge.
It's Texas traffic code, black and white. All passenger plated vehicles issued 2 plates, state of Texas, will display both license plates front and rear of the vehicle, and that is on the bumpers. People, not the dash or the windshield. And there's a reason for that, folks. We have toll roads, we have license plate readers, and we got border checkpoints here. That's why you're required to have front and rear license plates. So any state, rule of thumb, any state that issues 2 plates is required to be outside of the vehicle front and back. That's it. Period. Whether you like it or not.
And it's funny when I do stop vehicles that only have 1 plate, and it's typically in the back, and the front one's just not in the windshield. I ask the individual, "Did you lose the plate, or do you actually have it?" They either pull it from the glove compartment, they pull it from underneath the seat. They say, "Oh, it's in the trunk."
Yeah, I've heard every one of those, and I'm like, "Well, I feel like that belongs on the front of the car." And in Texas law even stipulates that if you correct that prior to court, they just dismiss the ticket. And you're done. You fixed it. Problem solved.
And one easy fix for the Tesla owners and the ones that got the sports coupes, Amazon sells a magnetic license plate frame. I want to say it's less than $20. Just buy it and put it on the front of your car.
Yep.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just like Nike. Just do it.
Yep. Just do it.
When you go into the store and you see the Nike shoes, you just do it. You buy it.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely right.
Just get on Amazon and just buy it.
Another one I hear. Can we ID all occupants of a vehicle? So the short answer is yes and no. That's about the shortest answer I can give you. It depends on the totality of the circumstances. Folks of us law enforcement know that phrase. Civilians, that means all articulable facts. What this means is if I traffic stop a vehicle that's got more than one person besides the driver, I cannot make the passengers give me their driver's license or ID card or identify themselves. I can't make them. I can ask them, and they can tell me to shove it. I don't have, okay. The only one that has to identify himself to me is the driver. Yep. He's driving the vehicle.
Yep.
But, caveat, if the passenger's not wearing a seatbelt, he or she must identify themselves to you now because that's a violation of the law. They're not wearing any seatbelt, so now they must identify themselves to you. Then they're required. And if they refuse, they can potentially go to jail for failure to ID. Now, let's say you smell marijuana coming out of the car, which is illegal to possess in the state of Texas. Now we can force all persons in the car to identify themselves and search them.
Yep.
And search the car.
Oh, yeah.
And all the possessions in the car. So that's why I said the short answer was yes and no. So the way I've done it is I'll ask for an ID. If they don't want to give it to me, I can't make them. I'm not going to make a big giant deal out of it and pull what are you trying to hide? I'm not going to do all that. You just sound stupid doing that. And everybody's kind of onto that game by now. So just ask. They say no, they say no. They say yes, cool. Once they give you an ID, you don't have to give it right back. They've handed it to you. Go run it. They have no warrants. Give them back their ID.
Yeah.
Call today. Or write it down in your notepad. Give them back their ID. You gave it back to them, but you got their name and date of birth. Yep. And hand it back if they're going to make that much noise about it. What's the harm? Wrote down the information, hand it back. Problem solved. Another one I hear as a traffic officer, we have ticket quotas. There is no such thing as quotas. I don't know how this rumor continues to persist. The way it works in most states, and Texas I know for sure, is we have what's called performance measures. If you live in a city with so many people, with so many cars on the road, if you are a traffic officer, an on-the-ball traffic officer doing his job should be stopping so many cars per hour. Otherwise, what is he doing out there? Nothing says we have to give tickets, and nothing says we have to give citations. It is the officer's discretion what he chooses to give.
Yep.
But there is no requirement for tickets or warnings. None at all. It does not exist. It may have 30, 40 years ago, and it may have. It does not exist any longer. The officer can stop as few cars as he wants. He can issue as many citations or warnings as he wants. Nobody can say a word to him about it.
Yep.
I will give this caveat as a traffic officer. If I give 90% warnings and 10% tickets, I'm probably going to hear from my boss about why it should be the other way around. Typically, that's how I do it. I'll issue 90% citations and 10% warnings. So if I issue 50 tickets that day, I'll give 5 warnings. That's kind of how I do it. Because not everybody's deserving of a ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Some people really just are like, I'm not giving a little blue-haired old lady who's doing 10 over the speed limit a ticket.
Yeah.
She's living on a fixed income. I'm not doing that to her. So there are caveats, but there's no such thing as quotas, people. I don't know where people keep getting this rumor from, and I hear it every day on the road.
Well, I guess because the lesson is missed in it all. The citation is supposed to be a measure to correct poor driving behavior.
That's right.
Because let's be honest, I mean, there are poor drivers on the roadway. It's just going to happen. Some drivers are going to be more risky than others, and that is the point of the citation, to correct the mistake.
That's right.
Now, if someone just continues to just display poor driving behavior, inevitably what happens is a crash. Could be a fatal, could be serious, like where a license could be suspended. And then it not only affects the poor driver, but it affects all the good drivers on the road also. Because I see it time and time again. There's a current trend. I don't know about any other states, but in Texas specifically, about racing and street takeovers. All that is irresponsible drivers.
I mean, it's illegal.
Yes, it's illegal too.
But even if it was legal, it's irresponsible.
It's irresponsible, it's dangerous, and it's risky. So those drivers, if I come across them driving at a high rate of speed, making lane changes with no signal, you're going to get a citation. I don't want to hear about how minor and how menial the violation is.
Well, because we know it's not.
It's not. When you take somebody's
the drive behaviors that cause crashes.
Yes, when you take somebody's life because you want to do 80 in a 45 because you're on a rush to go nowhere. Oh, yeah, and then tell me about it all the way down to the holding cell when you inevitably kill someone.
Yeah, you arrest you for manslaughter because you were exceeding the speed limit by such a high fashion that a reasonable person would assume they'll kill somebody.
Yep.
Absolutely. I have arrested people for manslaughter based on speed. They were not drunk. They were not high. They were going so fast, though, that they caused somebody to die. Mm-hmm. That's manslaughter.
Absolutely.
You're going to prison. I'm sorry. You chose to get behind the wheel of that 5,000-pound vehicle and disobey every safety law we have.
Yep.
So if most people don't understand how speed limits work, TxDOT, and I'm sure it's the same in Arizona, California, it's set by the engineers who built that road.
Mm-hmm.
What they do is they take the number of lanes, the grade of the road, the curvature of the road, how many cars typically are on that road, and they come up with a solution and a formula to set the speed limit. And it's always set 20 below the max. So if you see a speed limit says 65, it's actually set for 85. And that's what's called the dumbass factor. And they lower it down 20. So the road can at least tolerate traffic of 85 miles an hour safely.
Right.
So now we're not talking about Ferrari GT Spiders, Audi, that can hold a curve at 90 degrees that most cars would lose control. We're talking about the average motor vehicle on the roadway.
Yes.
So unless every car on that roadway is Ferrari GT350 Spider that can hold that curve like that, no, it's made for the everyday car. So that's how speed limits work, people. We're not trying to stop you or kill your fun, we're trying to keep you alive so you get where you're going. And on a practical measure, you get into a fender bender on a highway in this county, you're going to shut the highway down for hours. So we'd really like to not do that. People want to get home.
Yeah.
Another one. You give me another one. You hear them all.
Well, yeah, let's see. Another one could be deceptive police practices.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. So let me ask you a question, J-Man. Can you lie to me? As a police officer, are you allowed to legally lie to me?
I am legally allowed to lie.
Well, damn. But I can't lie to you. So when are you not allowed to lie to me?
So to get very, very specific, I cannot lie in means of, hey, if you tell me what happened, I'm not going to charge you with that.
Yeah, good point.
That is, if you want to talk about coercion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That officer is going to be on the other side of that car.
Just go ahead and handcuff yourself and walk yourself to the booking area.
Yeah.
And kiss that career goodbye.
Can't lie about warrants.
Nope.
We can't go to the house with a Chinese menu like in Training Day. And we got a warrant, search the house, and hand her a menu. No.
Yeah.
Warrants must be valid and signed by a judge, and they must be backed up by probable cause and oath. Folks, sometimes we have to lie. I try to keep it at a minimum. I don't like having to do it. I much prefer just telling people the truth. It's just easier. But legally, yes, in certain instances, we are allowed to lie. It's called deceptive police practices. And yes, we can. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's something we should make a habit of? No. Does it have a value? Yes. Undercover officers, by their very virtue of being undercover, are practicing deceptive police practices. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's 100% legal, which leads into my next misconception is, do undercover officers have to tell you they're police officers if you ask? Well, folks, let's think about this one for a second. Let's use our noodle. Gee, I'm undercover in a room full of gangbangers and drug dealers, and one of them asks me if I'm a cop. Yeah, I'm going to stand up and say I'm a police officer and hope I don't look like a cheese grater by the time I hit the floor.
Yeah.
No, there is no legal requirement for an undercover police officer to tell you they are a police officer. Mm-hmm. And yes, I've heard that one. when I was plainclothes gangs. No, we have no. Now, if I'm arresting you, yes, I must identify myself as a police officer and show you badge in my office. Absolutely.
Yep.
If I'm undercover, though, trying to bust you, I'm not going to tell you I'm a police officer. Oh, even though you might be dumb enough to continue to do the crime. No, there is no legal requirement.
Oh, yeah.
None at all. Until the handcuffs come out. And then, yes, we had better identify ourselves as police officers, or that dude shoots us and he walks.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Let's see. How about, here's a good one. PC for searching of cars.
Yeah, so people don't like the fact, they have different opinions on marijuana. Marijuana is still a probable cause for us to search a car here.
And why is that probable cause to search a car?
Because, number one, marijuana is still illegal. It's a prohibited substance.
That's the only reason. It's illegal.
It's illegal.
For the folks that are listening, marijuana is still not legal in the state of Texas.
And if you want to get even a little bit more technical as far as why we have why we can search a car on probable cause alone and not search a house just based off probable cause, why there needs to be more, is because you have an expectation of less privacy in a vehicle.
Correct. It's out in the public. It's on the roadway.
Mm-hmm.
In your house, you have an ultimate exception ultimate expectation of privacy. So that's why it must be a warrant or consent by the owner.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Good case rulings, absolutely all day long. I wholly agree with them. Like officers say, there's no such thing as a perfect crime. There's imperfect investigators.
Mm-hmm.
So get your probable cause if you can, and if it's there, then do what you got to do. Do your job.
Absolutely.
But do it right.
Do it right. That's
searching cars, though. That's a little different. If I walk up on a traffic stop and it's solely for speed, I look down and see a white plastic baggie with a white powdery substance in the center console that, based on my training, I recognize to be either meth or cocaine. Yeah, I can have you step out of the car, handcuff you, and I can search the car based on that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
because my training experience tells me what that is.
Yep.
If I smell marijuana, absolutely, car's getting searched, 100%. Mm-hmm. You can tell me, well, I didn't smoke. I smoked at the house, and I see you smell it on me. No, I don't care. I smell it coming out of the car. I didn't run into you outside the car. So let me be clear on that. If I walk up to you standing outside your car, and the windows are up on the car, and I smell the weed coming off you, I can search you. I cannot search your car.
Yep.
But if I walk up on your car and the window's down and I smell the weed coming out of the car, now I can search the car. 100% legal, totally within probable cause. Remember, folks, we traffic stop based on reasonable suspicion or probable cause.
Yes. We
search based on probable cause that has been reached by enough reasonable suspicion because we put enough articulable facts together.
Yes.
So for those that didn't know, I used to be a highway narcotics officer. So I had to put together all that reasonable suspicion into probable cause, but they had to be articulable. I had to be able to explain it to a jury. Mm-hmm. How, based on everything he said and what I saw and the facts I knew at the time, I put together this package going, okay, this person's transporting narcotics.
Yeah.
But you had to be able to articulate it. You can't just say, well, I knew it because of one thing. No, it's going to have to be a whole lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Unless that person's going to tell you, I'm trafficking narcotics, sir. Outstanding. Hop out of the car. Had happened to me one time. I think the guy was just so nervous. He just blurted it out. I was, okay. Awesome. Where's it at? It's in the trunk, in a duffel bag. Outstanding. Step out of the car. You're just detained. You're not under arrest. Yeah. He was under arrest about 5 minutes later. So it does happen. The last one is people thinking that they don't have to change address on their license or ID card.
Yeah.
Absolutely you do. Not your mailing address either. Where you live within 30 days of moving. Mm-hmm. I hear this all day long. Well, that's my mailing address. Well, that's my grandmother's address. Okay. But do you live with your grandmother? No. Then the address you live at needs to be on your license. And they're just flabbergasted. They don't seem to have those critical thinking skills that say, if I don't live at this address on my license, why would it be on my license?
Oh, yeah.
So these are the things I hear all day long. Mm-hmm. These are the misconceptions. And we will have more later. That was just enough right there. But I hope that anybody listening that is not law enforcement, or even some that maybe are law enforcement, maybe learn something today. We're not perfect. The problem with law enforcement is we think when we get our badge that we know everything. And it turns out we really didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And we learned it over the years of trial and error and senior officers calling us a dumbass and telling us what the law really is. And deflating your balloon that you blew up really high when you thought you had the bust of the century, and it turned out you didn't have shit. So they're all lessons learned. Folks, we hope you learned something here today. J-Man and I, we like to find the funny, but we also like to educate. because we firmly believe that a good officer is an educated officer, and a good citizen is an educated citizen.
Oh, yeah.
And all citizens should absolutely know their rights. Absolutely. But they should also know the law as well. And we're more than happy to tell. So, as we've seen us do, we end the show with, as we're sad to say, another officer has lost their life in the line of duty. Today, we'd like to pay homage to Police Officer Matthew Hare of the Easley Police Department in South Carolina. His end of watch was Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. Police Officer Matthew Hare was struck and killed by an Amtrak train near the 2000 block of East Main Street while attempting to pull a suicidal subject from the railroad tracks. The subject called 911 at about 5 a.m. while suffering a mental crisis. Officer Hare and another officer located the subject on the tracks at at about 6 a.m. as the oncoming train approached. The officers were removing the subject from the tracks when Officer Hare was fatally struck. Neither the other officer nor the suspect was injured. Officer Hare graduated from the police academy only 5 months earlier. He was survived by his mother, brother, aunt, grandparents, cousin, and stepsister. Listeners, we'd like to take a moment of silence for Officer Hare, who made the ultimate sacrifice. All right, listeners. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show. More to come down the road. It is a pleasure of mine and J-Man's to spent time with you today. As always, brothers and sisters, keep your head in a swivel. Be careful. Be safe. Back each other up. J-Man?
Same sentiments. And I guess in particular to this fallen officer, we have to have an episode about mental health, because I don't think it can be covered enough, especially, post-pandemic. A lot of individuals' mental health was affected. A human being is not by nature designed to be confined to a small area over an extended period of time. So,
no, you're absolutely right about that, brother.
I think that does attribute to a lot of the problems that we are seeing today. So, but that's for another day, another episode. Just keep on rocking and rolling, keep on backing each other up. So all our listeners who are non-LE, please be safe. Enjoy your time with your family. Do the right things. And once again, this is T-Bone and J-Man.
All right. Thank you, J-Man. We are out.